Welcome to the week 13 weekly update. I do encourage you to listen to this video as I have some new information to introduce to you. If you haven't noticed already, there are a few new features I have added to the chapters. Back in chapter 2 and 3, I actually added some optional multiple choice practice questions that people had requested to have. Feel free to try these or not. The answers are attached into the document. And I also have some optional free response practice. So I encourage you to look at these problems if you want more practice, but they're not required. Last week I did add a few other features starting in chapter 4 and going forward. One of the things I've always had in the resource folder has been helpful hints for the chapter, but I don't know if you've actually referenced them. They are quite informational. So what I did is before you start your chapter review kind of green puzzle piece, I included the link above it. And all this is some summary information from the chapter and from the author talking about key vocabulary, key formulas, and things like that. I encourage you to select this link and just read over the summary page of the helpful information about the chapter. The other thing I added just recently, and again you're going to find this in chapter 4 and going forward, are some Quizlet vocabulary flashcards I found. And what I did is after you do, again, that review for your chapter test, and before you start coming in to take your exam, I put the flashcards right here. If you click on this link, it's going to bring you to a Quizlet for that particular chapter. For this one, it's going to default to the flashcards. And for this particular chapter 5, there's 22 flashcards. If you haven't used Quizlet yet, it is quite helpful. What you do is you just kind of go through and you're going to have one side of the card. You can click here to flip and read the other side. Sometimes it'll be the vocab word, sometimes it'll be a formula to know, and in this case, again, we have 22 different ones to try. You're more than welcome to hit autoplay, and it will play them through for you, and you can read it, or you can shuffle them around and practice. Feel free to use this as you would like. Again, it's not required, but it is optional. Now, if you want some other features in Quizlet for this Chapter 5 topic in particular, if you click the back arrow here, it's going to bring you to the main menu for the Chapter 5 questions. Now, some of the other options I'm sure that you've seen in your foreign language classes in particular, but for here what I like is the test option or the matching option. Again, I'm defaulting our page to the flashcards. The same questions are actually shown, but what I would recommend, depending what type of practice you want, if you click the test as an option, it'll go through and make up a random test of about 5 questions that are fill in the blank, 5 matching, 5 true and false, and some multiple choice. If you want to, you could also click the matching part. That will bring you to this type of assessment where it just randomly picks a few of the vocabulary words and it has you click and do matching, and it does put a time on there to give you an understanding of how long it's taking you to do these. If you have not taken the Chapter 4 test yet, I highly recommend you go through the Quizlet application for your review because Chapter 4 is heavily intensive in the vocab. But do know you will find these for all of the chapters going forward until the end of the textbook. And I encourage you to use these Quizlets as you feel needed. If in your learning you're hoping that there were other resources available, please let me know. I am more than happy to add resources to our website. I actually got the Quizlet idea from a student, and I got the idea of doing additional multiple choice and free response from somebody else. So your ideas are welcome, and I am going to incorporate them as much as I can to help you in your learning. Now on to our schedule for this week. We are in week 13 and the holiday for Christmas is coming up quickly. The 22nd of December is the last day for school in December. Do know I will be gone that day, so if you plan on testing, I won't be here to administer it, so you'll want to test before December 22nd. This week in particular for week 13, if you are on pace, you're going to be wrapping up your Chapter 5 test and starting Chapter 6, which is on probability again. Following the rest of the month of December, what you do in December is you finish up Chapter 6 and test on that before you leave. Again, keep in mind I won't be here on Friday, so there will be no testing available on the 22nd. The other thing I really want people who are behind pace in particular to keep in mind, we have 3 weeks in December, then when we get back from break, it's January. You have about 2.5 weeks. So we have this 1 week in January, a full week, and another full week. On January 19th is the semester end for first semester. You must be through Chapter 7. All the material up to Chapter 7 will be your final grade for first semester. So do not put the material off. Get going on the material and don't jam it all in. If you want to do well on this test on May 17th, if you're cramming in 2 or 3 chapters in 2 weeks, you're not going to retain the information as well as if you do it on a paced recommended schedule. So please start the material. Let me know how I can help you out and continue to forge ahead in your learning, and let me know if you have any questions.